Athletes over the years where they become a cause rather than just an athlete trying to play a game. You know, they become a movement. You know, like I said earlier, they actually had odds that, you know, she was like third or fourth in the betting odds to be MVP of the WNBA. That's such a slap in the face to every WNBA player. It's unbelievable, right?
Revenge doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. And this time, that whisper came from a golf course. Caitlin Clark, the name that redefined women's basketball, just delivered the kind of quiet revenge that ends careers. And the man on the other side of it? Geno Auriemma, the Hall of Fame coach who once ruled the sport until he made one fatal mistake. It wasn't a fight on the court. It wasn't a headline scandal. It was a golf video. And that single clip left Geno's reputation in ruins.
But you know, it comes from a place where people want it so bad, but it's misguided, and certainly she's not, I don't think, driving it. She's not out there campaigning for it. She's handling her own playing. She has good days, she has bad days, she makes shots, she doesn't make shots.
So how did a simple swing humble one of basketball's greatest icons? Let's break it down. Before Caitlin Clark became the face of the WNBA, she was a kid with a dream, and that dream led straight to Geno Auriemma's doorstep. For decades, he was the gatekeeper, the empire builder, the coach who decided who mattered and who didn't. To any young player, getting that call from Geno meant you were chosen. But for Caitlin Clark, the phone never rang. The most electrifying recruit of her generation waited and waited, but Geno never called. He didn't call her. He didn't call her parents. He didn't even send a message through her AAU coach. And when asked why, Geno gave an answer that still shocks fans today. He said his program already had Paige Beckers, and he didn't need another point guard. Then he added insult to injury. If she really wanted UCNN, she should have called me. Think about that. The most legendary recruiter in women's basketball, the man known for spotting once-in-a-lifetime talent, told Caitlin Clark to chase him. It wasn't an oversight. It was arrogance. And Caitlin never forgot. Instead, she chose Iowa. No dynasty, no banners, no mystique, just belief. And from the moment she stepped on that court, she rewrote everything Geno thought he knew about power. She sold out arenas. She broke TV records. She became a household name before even playing a minute in the WNBA. And Geno? He couldn't stand it. When asked about her success, his praise always came wrapped in shade.
There's always going to be somebody that makes the team and everybody's surprised, and there's always going to be some people that don't make the team and everybody's surprised. But that's because they don't have to make those decisions, you know? My favorite part was that nobody mentioned me, so I thought that was really great.
First time in 16 years?
I mean, first time in 16 years. I wasn't the reason why somebody didn't make the team or somebody did make the team.
She plays like she's in the driveway, he once said. Or worse, comparing her to his own players. If Clark is fearless, well, Paige is too. It wasn't respect, it was insecurity. He wanted the world to think her success was just a byproduct of what he built. But fans saw through it, analysts saw through it, and Clark kept winning. Then came the breaking point. During an interview on the Dan Patrick Show, Geno crossed a line he could never walk back. He didn't just go after Caitlin Clark, he went after her fans. The delusional fan base that follows her disrespected the WNBA players, Geno said.
The worst part about new fans, you know, they have no perspective. There's no context. So they just say ridiculous nonsense.
They think she's going to tear the league apart. They're clueless. They're stupid. It gives women's basketball a bad name. Those were his words. And just like that, the man who built his legacy on empowering women insulted the very people keeping the sport alive. Families, kids, and new fans who'd bought tickets, worn jerseys, and believed in Clark's rise, all dismissed as clueless. That wasn't analysis, that was personal. And it backfired instantly. Because while Geno ranted, Caitlin stayed silent. She didn't respond on social media. She didn't take interviews. She just kept showing up and dominating. By the end of her rookie season, she had done everything he said she couldn't. She made the all-WNBA first team. She became Rookie of the Year. And when MVP votes came in, she finished 4th, exactly where her so-called delusional fans had predicted. It was poetic. Geno mocked them for believing, and then their belief became reality. But even then, he couldn't stop talking. Every interview, every podcast, every panel, he found a way to mention her name. It was as if Caitlin Clark lived rent-free in Geno Auriemma's head. And then came the golf video. At first, it was supposed to be lighthearted. Caitlin joined a charity pro-am event alongside LPGA legend Nelly Korda, with her friend and WNBA teammate Sophie Cunningham serving as her caddy. Sophie joked on her podcast, "I don't even have to carry any bags, just beers."
Yeah, and I also found out I don't have to carry any bags, so I'm going to be carrying a lot of beers.
But what started as fun turned viral fast. Caitlin's swing was perfect, calm, smooth, effortless. Cameras caught her smiling, joking with fans, radiating confidence, and the clip exploded online. It wasn't just a golf swing, it was a symbol. While Geno was out giving interviews, attacking fans, and defending his ego, Caitlin was out there owning the spotlight without even trying. That video became a metaphor for everything he lost. Control, respect, relevance. The same girl he ignored was now being cheered across sports, basketball, golf, you name it. And when reporters pressed Geno again about Caitlin's global attention, his tone changed. Gone was the arrogance. In its place, a forced humility. He muttered something about not everyone understanding the game and media hype, but it was too late. The damage was done. Caitlin Clark's silence had spoken louder than any statement could. She didn't need to clap back. She didn't need to tweet. She simply lived her life. And that was enough to shatter his authority. Then came the final blow. Word leaked that Geno had reached out through mutual connections, with $1 million offer tied to a basketball project overseas. On paper, it was huge. 8 weeks of work, a 7-figure payday. But when it reached Clark's team, the answer was just one word: no. No negotiation, no hesitation, just no. She didn't reject the money. She rejected him. The man who once refused to pick up the phone was now the one waiting for her call. And that's the definition of poetic justice. Geno Auriemma built his career deciding who mattered in women's basketball. Caitlin Clark destroyed that hierarchy without ever raising her voice. She turned every insult into fuel, every dismissal into momentum. And when the opportunity came to humble him, she didn't scream, she didn't gloat. She smiled, took her swing, and moved on. By the time that golf video hit the internet, Geno's narrative was over. No one cared about his comments anymore. The new era had arrived, and it belonged to Caitlin Clark. Her revenge wasn't loud, it was silent. No anger, no drama, just dominance. Because when you're winning on every level, in the league, in culture, and even on the golf course, your critics destroy themselves. Caitlin Clark didn't ruin Geno Auriemma's career. He did that himself. She just gave the world one last reason to stop listening to him. She didn't destroy him with words. She destroyed him with peace. If you're still watching, drop silent revenge in the comments.
There she is, the woman of the hour, Caitlin Clark, arriving to Pelican Golf Club outside Tampa earlier this morning to compete in the Annika driven by Gamebridge Pro-Am for the second straight year. There you see Caitlin's Indiana Fever teammates, Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull in caddy bibs, serving as honorary caddies out there.
They said the hype was over, that the injuries, the pressure, the non-stop spotlight had finally caught up with Caitlin Clark. For months, her name lived more in debate shows and comment sections than on any court. But on a quiet Florida morning, far from any WNBA arena, Caitlin walked onto the first tee at the Annika Pro-Am and gave every single doubter something they did not expect. This was supposed to be a casual hit-out, Smile for a few photos, hit a few safe shots, wave to the crowd, go home. Instead, it became her first real test since her WNBA season ended in July. No trainer's table, no minutes restriction, just a tee box, LPGA legends, and thousands of fans leaning over the ropes to see if the superstar still had it. You have to understand why this round mattered. Caitlin hadn't played in a true competitive setting for months. Groin and ankle issues shut her down. People questioned her durability, her focus, even whether the Caitlin Clark era had already peaked. Others complained that she was doing too much off the court, chasing appearances instead of locking in on her game. And yet here she was, invited back to one of the premier weeks in women's golf. The Annika, driven by Gainbridge at Pelican Golf Club. A serious LPGA stop, hosted by Annika Sorenstam herself. And now, a WNBA rookie, stepping into that world with every camera pointed straight at her. Her pairing said everything. Caitlin wasn't hidden in a quiet group on the back nine. She was with Nelly Korda, world number 2 and defending champion. Annika hosting, Golf Channel covering every swing, and right beside her, Indiana Fever teammates Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull in caddy bibs, turning a Pro-Am tee sheet into a mini WNBA reunion on grass. When she stepped up to that first tee, it was early, but it didn't feel sleepy at all. The gallery was packed with kids in Fever jerseys and Iowa shirts. Phones up, cameras rolling. This didn't look like a relaxed Wednesday. It looked like a mini major built around one player. Everyone wanted to know what that first swing would look like. Rusty, tight, nervous. Caitlin took the club back, turned through, and sent a solid drive into the fairway. On her very first hole, she hit the green in regulation. No fluke, no bailout. Just a smooth, controlled shot that said, the athlete is still very real. But it wasn't perfect, and that's the point. She left a long putt short, and you could see that competitive flash. This wasn't a happy to be here cameo. She was annoyed at the miss, even in a Pro-Am. The touch needed to come back. But the fire? That never left. As the round went on, the cameras caught something even more important. Caitlin wasn't just swinging away and laughing it off. She was learning on the fly. After a few tee shots leaked right, Nelly Korda's coach, Jamie Mulligan, stepped in with a bit of swing advice. Caitlin listened, talked about swinging too fast, trying to smash the ball, needing to slow down and trust the motion. On the very next tee, she hit her best drive of the day. Balanced, smooth, right out of the center. That tiny sequence said everything. Different sport, same elite wiring. She can absorb coaching in seconds, make an adjustment, and execute under pressure. Golf Channel even mentioned this was the first time since July she'd really felt that rush again. The focus, the adrenaline, the sense that people weren't just watching her, they were expecting something from her. On a golf course, with borrowed clubs, she still wore that same game face. But every big story needs one signature moment, and that moment came on the 10th hole. By then, Caitlin had stitched together plenty of solid golf. Fairways, greens, better pace on the putts. Respectable, steady, safe. But you don't become Caitlin Clark by being safe. She needed something that felt like a true highlight. Standing off the green on 10, she looked at a long putt and joked she needed to drop one so the crowd could go crazy. Call it confidence, call it pressure. Either way, she stepped over the ball, rolled it perfectly, and buried it. Center of the cup. The gallery exploded. It wasn't polite applause. It was a roar. Kids screaming, adults cheering, broadcasters laughing at how on-brand it was for Caitlin Clark to basically call her shot in a different sport and then hit it. In that second, the putt became the golf version of a logo 3. Same calm follow-through. Same easy walk to pick up the ball. Same look that said, yeah, I knew that was going in. Around her, the day kept feeding the camera's moments. Sophie Cunningham stepped up on a tee, swung hard, and accidentally drilled a fan in the gallery. Total chaos for a heartbeat. She rushed over, checked they were okay, signed a ball, hugged them, and turned a scare into a story they'll tell forever. Lexi Hull followed with a better drive, drawing cheers and smiles. These little scenes showed something deeper. They showed the chemistry of the Fever outside of hardwood. They showed how much joy and personality Caitlin drags into every environment. This wasn't just a pro-am group. It felt like a traveling show built around her presence. And people inside golf noticed. Nelly Korda said that first tee scene felt like something out of a book. She talked about how crazy it was to see that many people out for a midweek pro-am just because Caitlin Clark was there. Annika Sorenstam spoke about how valuable it is to have an athlete like Caitlin bring her audience into women's golf, and how much that crossover can grow the game. That's the part the doubters never quite understood. They said she was a distraction. They complained about commercials, appearances, golf events. They wanted her to pick one lane and stay in it. But this is the lane. Caitlin isn't just a point guard. She is a force that amplifies whatever game she walks into. While critics questioned her focus, she was out here doing 3 things at once, showing she's healthy enough to compete again. Respecting another sport by playing at a solid level after months away from golf, and using her platform to shine a bigger light on women's sports. After the round, Caitlin talked about feeling 100% healthy. No excuses, no still working back. Just excitement to compete again. On grass now, and soon on hardwood. With international duties and another WNBA season ahead, the message was simple. Her body is back, and so is her edge. That's why this little round wasn't little at all. It wasn't just about scorecards, formats, or pro-am prizes. It was about reminding everyone that even when she steps away, the magnetism doesn't fade. She can disappear from the court, show up at a golf event, and instantly turn it into must-see TV. If this is Caitlin Clark when she's supposedly rusty, imagine her back in a packed arena with a ball in her hands and a full season in front of her. The doubters aren't just wrong, they're late. From a nervous opening swing on a crowded first tee to a called shot bomb on the 10th that sent the crowd into a frenzy, Caitlin Clark turned a quiet Wednesday pro-am into another chapter in her comeback story. The sport was different, the stakes were softer, but the message was loud. If you're still watching, drop Annika comeback in the comments so we know you're riding with Caitlin all the way back.
Coming back with another video, and it looked like Caitlin Clark has broken the damn internet yet again. We have several things to talk about in this one. We have to talk about the Indiana Fever sending a cryptic message to the fans.
While the WNBA struggles to protect its biggest star, the LPGA just rolled out the red carpet. Cameras flashing, fans cheering, sponsors lining up, and all for a basketball player. Caitlin Clark didn't even need to say a word. Her golf swing just exposed exactly how superstars should be treated. But how did a league she doesn't even play for do what the WNBA couldn't? Let's break down how the LPGA turned Caitlin Clark into their biggest headline, and what that says about women's sports right now. When Caitlin Clark returned to the Annika, driven by Gainbridge Pro-Am at Pelican Golf Club in Florida, no one expected what came next. What was supposed to be a friendly off-season appearance turned into a global spectacle. Ticket sales didn't just rise, they multiplied 12 times over. 34 million social media impressions in a single week. Golf fans, basketball fans, even casual sports watchers. Everyone wanted to see Caitlin Clark swing a club. Pelican Golf Club's chief operating officer said it best. This is one of the most talked about women's golf tournaments ever. The numbers are staggering. Last year's tournament already proved Caitlin's magnetism. This year, it's pure madness. Crowds in Iowa and Fever jerseys line the fairways, chanting her name as if it were a Final Four game. And she's not even a professional golfer. The LPGA knew exactly what they were doing. They paired her with golf royalty, world #1 Nelly Korda, and 10-time major champion Annika Sorenstam. The goal wasn't just to fill seats, it was to make a statement. Women's sports could be exciting, glamorous, and profitable all at once, if you treat your stars right. And they didn't just treat Caitlin right, they celebrated her. Nelly Korda said, "It was like playing with a friend. She's relaxed, confident, and just really enjoying herself." Annika Sorenstam added, "She's super mature for 22, handles herself so well, and says the right things. She brought energy and fun to our event.
Last year, Clark played 9 holes with USA star golfer Nelly Korda and another 9 with Annika Sorenstam. Quote, "It was an honor to play in the Pro-Am with Caitlin last year. The crowds were amazing, and we are excited for her to return to the Annika in November," Sorenstam said in a statement. She added such a great dynamic to our event, and her passion for golf and competitiveness were fun to witness firsthand. I look forward to having her back and continuing to introduce the great game of golf to the next generation.
For the LPGA, Caitlin wasn't an outsider. She was a gift, a reason to bring millions of new eyes to their sport. And the organization made sure she felt valued every step of the way.
Quote, "I had an amazing time at the Annika last November and participating in the Pro-Am along Nelly Korda and Annika Sorenstam, 2 of the best in the game," Clark said in a statement. "I'm honored to be an ambassador for a company in Gainbridge that is so committed to elevating women's sports. I can't wait to return to Tampa in November to play in the Pro-Am with the best women golfers in the world."
Meanwhile, back in the WNBA, the contrast couldn't be sharper. While the LPGA broadcast her Pro-Am nationally in prime time, the WNBA often hides her post-game pressers behind low-traffic clips. While the LPGA built an event around Caitlin Clark, the WNBA seems terrified of admitting how much she matters. Remember, this is the same player who increased WNBA attendance by over 300%, boosted national viewership by double digits, and became the league's top jersey seller, yet still earns just $78,000 a year. And instead of celebrating that, too many voices inside the league questioned the hype, downplayed her impact, or worse, targeted her physically on the court. While the WNBA worried about control, the LPGA embraced opportunity. LPGA executives built campaigns around her. They promoted her in every highlight reel. They let her be the headline. The commissioner even called her a once-in-a-generation crossover star who brings incredible energy wherever she goes. That's the difference. The LPGA saw what the WNBA still refuses to see. That Caitlin Clark isn't competition. She's transformation. And the results speak for themselves. The Pro-Am was a sellout. Fans drove from multiple states just to catch a glimpse of her practice swings. ESPN and Golf Channel covered her every move, and even the pros couldn't hide their admiration. Players like Lilia Vu, Andrea Lee, and Megan Kong all rushed to meet her after their rounds. It wasn't jealousy, it was celebration. That's what true support looks like. And outside the fairways, celebrities noticed too. Tiger Woods praised her impact. LeBron James called her special. Chris Evert said the WNBA should appreciate her for what she is, the best thing that's ever happened to women's basketball. Paige Spiranak went viral after tweeting, "The hate toward Caitlin Clark from some players is disappointing. Women can be vicious while preaching empowerment. The LPGA gets it. They're letting her shine." This is the turning point. While one league struggles with resentment, another has unlocked the formula for growth, respect, visibility, and value. Caitlin's appearance didn't just move tickets. It proved a larger truth. Audiences want to see women's sports succeed, but they respond to how those athletes are treated. The LPGA gave her cameras, prime coverage, and gratitude. The WNBA gave her bruises, backlash, and silence. That's not bitterness, that's reality. And the irony? Caitlin never asked for special treatment. She just keeps showing up, humble, calm, focused, and the world follows her anyway. Because fans don't fall in love with leagues, they fall in love with people. And that's what the LPGA understood instantly. As Caitlin stepped onto the Pelican fairways this November, surrounded by thousands of cheering fans, she didn't look like someone fighting for validation. She looked like someone who had already won. No drama, no controversy, just respect. It was the perfect visual metaphor. A basketball star outshining pros in a completely different sport, not because she demanded it, but because she earned it. The LPGA's red carpet treatment wasn't about politics or publicity. It was about understanding the moment. They knew Caitlyn represented something bigger, the bridge between women's sports and mainstream culture. Every camera flash, every fan chant, every headline proved the same thing. People crave authenticity and excellence. Caitlyn Clark has both. Analysts are already calling her LPGA crossover a marketing masterclass, a win for women's sports that the WNBA could have owned if it had embraced her sooner. And maybe that's the real revelation she exposed, not the difference in pay, but the difference in respect. The LPGA didn't try to control Caitlyn. They trusted her star power, and it worked. Meanwhile, the WNBA is still trying to manage it. And in doing so, they're losing her spotlight to another sport. So while the LPGA celebrates, basketball fans are left asking a painful question. What if the WNBA treated Caitlyn Clark the same way? Because in one weekend, a golf tournament showed the world what real support looks like, and reminded everyone that respect will always drive the game forward. Caitlyn Clark didn't call anyone out. She didn't demand headlines. She simply proved what happens when greatness is appreciated instead of controlled. And that's the biggest exposure of all. If you're still watching, drop Team Clark in the comments. Because no one changes the game like Caitlyn Clark.